everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Anthony in Red's Top 10. I am your host, Anthony Gamer, and I am your co-host there, Red Fox. And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing the top 10 Atari 2600 games made by Coleco. Now, if you think about it, it's kind of interesting, isn't it, that the fact that Coleco actually made games for the Atari 2600. Yeah, now Atari Soft, which was a branch of Atari, would make some of their games for other game systems as well. But where the controversy comes in is that some people claim that Coleco intentionally made the games for the 2600 week, so that people would want to buy the ColecoVision. What's your opinion, Red? Well, there is some validity to that, as we'll see with some of these ports on today's list, but you also got to remember, too, that they didn't have a whole lot of memory to work with, so at that point in time, porting an arcade game to the Atari 2600, well, there was going to be some stuff that'd be left out. Right you are, Red. So before we get started, I also want to let you guys know that we got some new avatars that I had created. I hope you guys like those. Oh, yeah, I sure liked mine there. I think I look pretty cool, and so do you. Yep. All right, so before we get started, our usual disclaimer that we mean absolutely no disrespect in this video. These are simply our opinions. Whether you agree or disagree with us, that's your right. We're not saying we're better than anybody or that we're right and you're wrong. These are just simply our opinions. Now, again, how do we judge this top 10? We use a couple different criteria. First, the fun factor. Is the game fun? That's the biggest one. Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially when you come to these retro games here. The graphics aren't always going to be the best, but you got to ask yourself, is the game fun? Next up, we have the challenge. Is the challenge just at the right place? Is it challenging enough for you want to keep playing, or is it too hard that you're going to take the game and throw it out and throw it away? Next, we also use graphics and sound. That's self-explanatory. Replayability. Is this game going to be able to be one that you're going to want to play over and over again over a period of years? Also, don't forget that we have no prototypes, and all the games that we discuss here were released during the life of the console. So, without further ado, let's get into the games. Okay, now first off at the number 10 spot, we have Rockin' Rope. Now, this game here was programmed by Ed English. In this game, you are trying to find the golden rock, which is a special kind of bird. Now, I always thought it was a phoenix, but anyway, so you're trying to use your rope and get to the top there and get to the phoenix, and you have a flash that stuns the dinosaurs and the cavemen coming after you. Yeah, this was a port of an arcade game. Not the best port, but again, with the limited memory, it's not bad. It keeps the integrity of the original game, and not as fun as the arcade, but back in the day, if you wanted to have rock and rope, and this was what you got, so you made do, and it's still fun. At the number 9 spot, we have another port of an arcade game. This is Mr. Do, and was also programmed by Mr. Ed English. In this game, you take on the role of that great wizard, Mr. Do, and you are trying to harvest your cherries, but you gotta be careful because you got these weird monsters, just simply called bad guys, coming after you. You have a power ball, and you can also squish them with apples, and yeah, it's a pretty fun game. It's got a lot of elements of Dig Dug, but you just gotta love Mr. Do, and this would be the first of 3 Mr. Do games that they would have. Great game, really a lot of fun, and one I have a lot of happy memories of playing from when I was a kid. And next up we have Donkey Kong, one of the most famous arcade games of all time, and probably one of the most disliked ports of all time. And excuse me, a lot of corners were cut to make this game. Only 2 of the 4 levels were used. Animations were cut down. All kinds of stuff was kind of taken out in order to make this game possible. And I know Gary Kitchen takes a lot of heat for this, but like he pointed out in an interview, you only had so much memory to work with, and he did the best he could. Yeah, and back when we were kids, when we played it, we really didn't care because we were just happy to have a Donkey Kong game to play at home. So, I mean, we just kept playing it and kept playing it. Oh yeah, because I remember I got this for Christmas in 1982, and yeah, I just had a high old time playing it. So, yeah, it's like I said, not the best port. It's certainly not the worst. I'm going to have another deeper dive into arcade versus port with Donkey Kong, and you'll see some real bad ones. So, okay, next up at the number 7 spot, there we got Time Pilot. This was programmed by Harley H. Puthoff Jr. Another port of an arcade. Let's just pretty much with Coleco, these are ports of arcade games. Now, in this game, you take on the role of a pilot, and you are traveling through time and fighting against planes from different time periods. Really a cool game, and one that was pretty much impossible to mess up, and I'm really glad they didn't. Had a whole lot of fun playing this game. As time goes on and the planes get better, they get a lot more difficult. So if you haven't played this game, I highly recommend giving it a try. Okay, next up at the number 6 spot, we have Donkey Kong Jr. This was also programmed by Harley H. Puthoff Jr. Yeah, this one is not the best port by far of this game. At least they were able to get 3 levels in it. I give them credit for that. Although they really had to sacrifice a lot. Really, he doesn't really look much like Donkey Kong Jr. and stuff. But anyway, we're not here to trash the game. Again, back as kids, we just thought this was great that we had the copy of Donkey Kong Jr. to play at home, and so we made the best of it and just enjoyed it, and that's what you did back in the day. Yeah, and it's just too bad, though, that they never did actually make a port of Donkey Kong 3. Well, according to rumor, there is a homebrew out there somewhere that somebody made, but I don't think it's readily available or was limited edition. But yeah, it's still not a bad game, and I do give them credit for actually making 3 levels of this iconic arcade game. Okay, and next up there we got Mousetrap. This was programmed by Sylvia Day and Henry Will IV. Yeah, it's that maze game where you take on the role of the little mouse and you're trying to eat the cheese, and you can turn yourself into a dog and go back after the cats. So it's kind of a play a little bit on the whole Pac-Man thing, but really it's kind of a fun game. If you're into those maze type games like this, this and like KC and, Cat Tracks and stuff like that, you're going to love this game, and we sure did. And next up, we have one of my all-time favorite games, period. And that is Carnival. This was programmed by Steve Kitchen. Just a fun game. One I think every member of my family played and enjoyed. It's just a shooting gallery. You are shooting at these targets as they move past. The birds sometimes will try to fly down and eat your bullets. Just a fun game. And I really enjoy these carnival type shooting games. Do them in real life, and yep, it's just like I said, just a game the whole family can enjoy. At least ours did. Lots of happy memories playing this with my dad. Okay, and next up there we have a true gaming masterpiece. That's the only way I can put it. It's a masterpiece, just well done, and that is Smurfs Rescue in Gargamel's Castle. This, of course, is based on those cute little blue creatures that took the world by storm in the late 70s and into the 80s. In this game, you take on the role, I think, of Hefty Smurf. I'm just going to say it's Hefty, and you're trying to rescue Smurfette from Gargamel's Castle. This game was programmed by Henry Will IV. The sound was done by Todd Marshall. Just great. I mean, the colors are bright and popping. The sound is just amazing. You got the music in the background. It looks really funny when he dies, too. How he kind of like sits on his hands and stuff, and then when he drowns, it's like I said, just a great game. And Anthony made a really cool hack of this, thanks to the help of Dr. Clue. He made that Moomin game. So yeah, can't find enough good things to say about this. If you haven't played it, and I can't imagine why, give it a try. You're gonna really enjoy it. Next up, we have another one of my all-time favorite games, period, and that is Zaxxon. This was originally released by Sega in the arcade, and I love this game. I wasn't very good at it as a kid, but I love the cabinet, I love the sound, I love this game. In this one, you're a pilot, and you're trying to destroy this evil Zaxxon robot, and you gotta make your way through 3 different screens to get to him. They just did a bang-up job with this. Even though the arcade game was a isometric shooter. At that time, it probably would have been impossible to duplicate that for the Atari. Sadly, we don't know who programmed this. There's no name that was given, which is too bad, because whoever did this really deserves credit for making a great port of a great game. I remember I was so happy when I found out this was coming out, because, like I said, I love playing the arcade. Was terrible at it as a kid, and I was so happy when I found out it was getting ported, and I'm glad it got released, and I have so many happy memories of playing this game as a kid. Still enjoy it to this day. And it should be no surprise to you guys at all that our number 1 pick is Venture. This was programmed by Joseph Beal. In this game, you are taking on this guy, and you are going deep into a dungeon. You're trying to get treasure, fight these evil monsters. Probably the first dungeon crawling game out there, I would imagine. And people have hacked this a lot and made sequels to it and incorporated some of their other favorite video games. It's just a whole lot of fun. The graphics are simplistic, but I tell you, it's just so much fun. No matter if you play it here on the 2600, the arcade, the Intellivision, Coleco, whatever, it's a great game. It's just, I can't find enough good things to say about it. I can't either. I mean, honestly, as a kid, the challenge is still there. It's just great. It's really one of those masterpieces that classic gaming masterpieces that had pretty much gone into legendary status as soon as it hit the shelves. Just one of probably the best. It is obviously the best game Coleco made for the Atari 2600, hands down, not even close. Well, that wraps it up for this episode of Anthony and Red's Top 10. Have you decided what we're going to do next? Well, I decided that we should do another, of course, third-party game developer. So this next time we're going to do CBS games. Okie dokie. And we'll look at the top 10 Atari 2600 games made by CBS. All right, so until next time, I am Red the Fox, and I am Anthony Gamer, and we will see you on the next episode. Until then, take care of yourselves. Bye for now. Goodbye, everybody.